targets for data attacks from around the world. So why should we leave this to organizations like yours?
Well, Senator, it's a very fair question to ask. I think for us, we look at standards being people, process, and technology, and recognize that while we have not migrated to chip, we have advanced fraud monitoring tools in the U.S., the best in the world, as well as looking at other technologies that are more cost-effective for merchants to move to, like tokenization and point-to-point encryption.
In fact, I was with a group of retailers a couple of weeks ago, and they're just moving ahead full blast with point-to-point encryption and tokenization, and many big companies are doing that because they've kind of had it with all these PCI requirements. It's just not working for them for all these different reasons. So I think we will see very heavy adoption of point-to-point encryption and tokenization, especially among the large retailers.
Data breaches ever to hit a major retailer. This morning, Home Depot is investigating whether its customers' credit and debit cards were exposed. It's not clear how many stores or shoppers could be involved, but experts say it could be larger than the breach that affected 40 million shoppers at Target last year. In a statement, Home Depot says protecting our customers' information is something we take extremely seriously. CBS News contributor and analyst Melody Hobson is in Chicago. Melody, good morning.
Good morning.
So what could be one of the biggest data breaches ever to hit a major retailer. This morning, Home Depot is investigating whether its customers' credit and debit cards were exposed. It's not clear how many stores or shoppers could be involved, but experts say it could be larger than the breach that affected 40 million shoppers at Target last year. In a statement, Home Depot says protecting our customers' information is something we take extremely seriously. CBS News contributor and analyst Melody Hobson is in Chicago. Melody, good morning.
Good morning.
So why do these security breaches keep happening?
It's like that old saying, why do you rob a bank? It's where the money is. The cyber thieves know, they're the new organized crime, that there's a lot of money to be made online because 60% of us are banking online. Most of us are shopping online. So when they get these numbers, they can sell them. And just to use the Target example, the estimates are that the thieves made in the neighborhood of $50 million from that one breach.
So what are these companies going to do? What are potential targets going to do?
Well, now what they're saying, Target was the wake-up call. They knew that they lost almost $2 billion in market cap. Their profits plummeted it. The CEO lost his job. So now the retailers are saying, we have to get in front of this and play offense. On top of that, the credit card companies have said that if the new card reader technology hasn't been adopted by October of 2015, if there's fraud, the retailer is responsible. So now everyone's trying to get in front of this new card reader, which has dual verification, which makes the transaction much, much safer for both the retailer and the customer.
Yeah, so let's talk about that new technology. We keep hearing about it, called chip and pin technology. When's it going to be available? What does it mean for consumers when you're shopping?
So I'm told, I talked to one of the major retailers yesterday, in the next 18 to 48 months, you're going to see most retailers adopt this. Now, interestingly, Walmart adopted it 8 years ago, and even Home Depot has a lot of these card readers in their stores right now, but you need the new credit card. Yeah. And interestingly, I just got my new Amex that has chip and pin technology. They sent me a letter saying that it is going to be safer. So this is now rolling out right now, and you'll probably see much, much more of it coming if you haven't already.
I assume that the credit card companies and others who are having to take these extra measures will simply pass on the cost of that to the customers, to their customers.
Again, I talked to this major retailer yesterday. I don't know how they can do that. Now, the costs are huge. They're estimated to be about $8 billion to change all these systems around the country, but I don't know how they could pass it on.
Melda Hobson, thank you.
We do have some breaking news, though, for you on Target, a management shakeup there. Olivia Stearns is breaking it down from the newsroom. Olivia?
Hey there, Alex. Well, Target has come out this morning saying that their CEO and chairman, Greg Steinhavel, who's been with Target since 1987, is now stepping down. It is effective immediately. In his place, the CFO, John Mulligan, will be stepping up. He will become the new CEO. He will also become the president. Roxanne Austin, a current member of Target's board, she will step in as non-executive chairman. They're also asking Greg Steinhavel to to stay on with Target, to serve as an advisor in this period of change. They say now is the right time for leadership change at Target. Again, these changes are effective immediately. Greg Steinhafel stepping down as CEO and President, Chairman of the Board of Target. In his place, CFO John Mulligan, effective immediately.
Shares of Target are slipping on Monday after the retailer announced its Chairman and Chief Executive Greg Steinhafel is stepping down 5 months after the massive customer data breach that took place in December. The breach had resulted in the theft of at least 40 million payment card numbers and 70 million other pieces of customer information. A statement posted to the company's website says, "Today we are announcing that after extensive discussions, the board and Greg Steinhafel have decided that now is the right time for new leadership at Target." Steinhafel also resigned from his post as chairman of the board of directors. Target Chief Financial Officer John Mulligan will serve as interim president and CEO until a replacement is found. A 35-year veteran of the company, Steinhafel vowed to help Target emerge from the data breach a better company and took steps to help the retailer win back customers, like offering special discounts, as he did in this video from December 20th.
The message I would like to leave with our guests is that we value their business and we appreciate the trust they place in us as a company and as a friend and a community partner. So at Target, we get a 10% discount if you're a team member. And we want to extend that team member discount to all of the guests that come and shop with us this weekend as a small way to just say thank you for being a great guest at Target.
In addition to Steinhafel's resignation, Target also appointed new Chief Information Officer Bob DeRodes, who will take over from Beth Jacob, who resigned in March. The retailer also announced last week that its portfolio of Target-branded credit and debit cards will be enabled with MasterCard's chip and PIN solution beginning in early 2015. In New York, I'm Brittany Umar for The Street.
Well, a Call 7 consumer alert this morning. Make sure to keep a close eye on your bank accounts, especially if you have been to Michael's. The store says millions of customers' information is at risk. Lindsay Watts taking a look at what you need to do if you think you could be a victim.
Eric, this security breach has been under investigation for a few months, but only now are we learning that up to 3 million Michael's shoppers may have had their credit information stolen. This morning, the store's website offering a statement, an apology, as well as information on what people should do at this point. There has already been fraud as a result of the hack. Michael says a limited number of cards have been used by hackers at this point. The breach happened over an 8-month time period last year, so it was from early May through late January. And you should know that Michael's subsidiary, Aaron Brothers, was also hacked, and about 500,000 cards were compromised there. Now, both Michael's and Aaron Brothers are offering free identity protection and credit monitoring to affected customers. That will go on for 1 year. If you need to get those protections, just head over to the 7 News app or our website, thedenverchannel.com. Not all Michael's and Aaron Brothers stores across the country were impacted, but as you'll be able to see for yourself from these links that we've posted, of the 24 locations here in Colorado, 23 of those were hit. Lindsay Watts, 7 News Now.
We've engineered Z13 to provide the highest levels of security available.
So with Z13, we're shipping our next generation cryptographic co-processing technology, and this enables people to handle a tremendous number of cryptographic keys and secure their data in real time across a tremendous number of sources. Additionally, security goes into every system that we bake. We're the only system in the commercial world that is EAL 5+ compliant.
What's nice about encryption on Z is we have so many different levels of protection for both your keys and your data. So we give you the ability to do encrypt, decrypt, sign, verify. We also have master key management. So we have like this big, data sets where we can store, millions of keys that you can use in these crypto applications. You have the data encrypted kind of end to end, so that essentially at no point along this transaction can anyone actually get to the data without the proper key. One of my favorite features that's going into the next Z system will be format preserving encryption. I think it's a pretty awesome technology. You can actually encrypt the data in place. So it gives you the ability where you can actually do encryption, but not have to change your existing systems.
So my job as part of the engineering system test team is to try to break the mainframe. But we're doing that towards making it a better and more resilient system for the customer. So in our thermal testing, what we try to do is take the machine up to higher temperature than would ever be seen in a customer data center. And we'll take the voltage and frequency and vary those within the test as well. So now you've got kind of a worst case scenario where you've got high temperature, high voltage, low frequency, and will the processor still stay up? Will the machine still run?
We have to make certain that no matter whether you've deployed your Z in the middle of the Mojave Desert or you've decided to do so somewhere in Alaska, these systems are able to survive in almost any environment so that their customers, no matter what happens on within the data center itself, that their customers never see a blip.
We do shock and vibration testing. We do a tilt test where we actually tilt the machine over and try to see what happens when that happens. We also do earthquake testing as part of our compliance testing.
Here in this laboratory, we can run any type of earthquake motion that has existed or has been measured. If a IBM mainframe can pass these motions, then it can be qualified for all the types of earthquakes that we may see and all the types of buildings that the mainframes may be in. IBM isn't interested in just pass-fail. They're interested in every little detail inside that mainframe. We go above and beyond testing with IBM because they want to take their equipment above and beyond what the code requires.
The other part of the test area is primarily trying to emulate customer workloads much higher than even any typical customer would run. We can't even do that if we're just running the typical kernel or software like Linux or ZOS. It's almost impossible for us to stack it enough to break it. So we use our own kernel to do that. We also inject failures into the machine. So we take, for instance, take one of the cooling units down out of the system. It can automatically sense that cooling unit has gone down. It will dial down the processor if it needs to slow it down if it's getting too hot. It will make a call and say, I've got a bad cooling unit, please come fix me. And then it will turn up the fan speeds. So it automatically knows this is what I need to do to stay cool enough to keep running at the highest level I can.
That's what high availability is about. We have 24/7 support for our clients, whether it's an operating system or the hardware. We have many different types of error checking built across the system to prevent the system from ever having a problem.
Our commitment to continuous, reliable operations extends to the delivery, the deployment, upgrade, and service of our systems for our clients.
The design of the system is such that you can upgrade that in 8 hours or less. We can transparently do that, move the workload, roll a new system in, have the new system up and running, move the workload back, and the system's running.
For Z13, you'll see on the front covers that we've carried forward with the geometric shape. It's a real cool look. And the covers themselves, they offer tremendous functionality from the standpoint of airflow management as well as acoustic attenuation. As we get very dense and from a footprint standpoint, there's a fair amount of heat generated, there's a fair amount of airflow that takes place. To make that more efficient, we've actually redesigned the rear covers for our system. And we've allowed those to have the airflow vectorized. They'll either vector up or vector down. So we've actually designed the rear cover to have that flexibility to be configured on site.
The new Z13 pushes the boundaries of computing so that businesses can innovate without constraint.
The people who work on Z absolutely love what they do, and they absolutely love the machines that we build, and we're always very excited to see what our customers are capable of coming up with when they use it.
I'm Isha Powers, I work on mainframes.
I'm LD Stevens, and I work on mainframes.
I'm Taran Chopra, and I work on mainframes.
I'm Kelly Ryan, and I work on mainframes.
I'm John Torak, and I work on mainframes.
I'm Bruce Hill, and I work on mainframes.
Home Depot says protecting our customers' information is something we take extremely seriously. CBS News contributor and analyst Melody Hobson is in Chicago. Melody, good morning.
Good morning.
So what could be one of the biggest data breaches ever to hit a major retailer this morning, Home Depot is investigating whether its customers' credit and debit cards were exposed. It's not clear how many stores or shoppers could be involved, but experts say it could be larger than the breach that affected 40 million shoppers at Target last year. In a statement, Home Depot says protecting our customers' information is something we take.
And many big companies are doing that, because they've kind of had it with all these PCI requirements. It's just not working for them for all these different reasons. So I think we will see very heavy adoption of point-to-point encryption and tokenization, especially among the large retailers.
Data breaches ever to hit a major retailer this morning, Home Depot is investigating whether its customers' credit and debit cards were exposed. It's not clear how many stores or shoppers could be involved, but experts say it could be larger than the breach that affected 40 million shoppers at Target last year. In a statement,
why should we leave this to organizations like yours?
Well, Senator, it's a very fair question to ask. I think for us, we look at standards being people, process, and technology, and recognize that while we have not migrated to chip, we have advanced fraud monitoring tools in the U.S., the best in the world, as well as looking at other technologies that are more cost-effective for merchants to move to, like tokenization and point-to-point encryption.
In fact, I was with a group of retailers a couple of weeks ago, and they're just moving ahead full blast with point-to-point encryption and tokenization.
That allows the core processors to do more work.
Become the targets for data attacks from around the world. So